Welcome to another review from the Four Corners of the Board with your host, Graeme Anderson. Hello there everyone, this is Graeme Anderson from Four Corners of the Board. Today I'm going to be looking at Affliction, Salem 1692. Now this is a game from a small publisher that I first tried at this year's Origins. Now it's a game set in the witch trials of Salem 1692, but not about the witch trials. In this game you are trying to create an inner circle of folks to strengthen up your side, while also casting doubt and fear against other townsfolk and villagers. Now it's a Euro game that's quick and has simple mechanics, but is also very thematic. So how does this game stack up? Let's get to the table, see how it's played, then we'll come back for my final thoughts on Affliction, Salem 1692. So here we have Affliction, Salem 1692 all set up for a 3-player game. Now each person will start off with a faction card, and this faction card will show you which faction you belong to, so this person belongs to the village. They also show you at the bottom here who you want to arrest and who you want to have in your circle, and of course we'll get into this as we talk about gameplay. Each person also gets 2 action markers, and they start off with 4 influence. And influence in this game you can almost think of as money. You're going to need to spend it to perform some actions. The main part of the game is this game board here, and this is where you're going to be placing your action markers, and this is the order in which the actions will take place. And again, we'll talk about that when we talk about more about gameplay. The other thing that's going to happen at the beginning of the game is you're going to have these starter people. You're going to shuffle them all up, and each person will get 1, and these are going to go into your circle. And you can kind of think of your circle as the people that are closest to you and the people that are helping you. The other ones that weren't used are just going to go back into the deck and shuffled. And finally, there are 2 kind of end of game cards here that actually say that the game ends as soon as these cards are revealed. And you're going to be taking the bottom 6 cards out of this deck and putting them in there, and then that way, you know, within the last 8 cards, the game is going to end. These 2 decks are the colonist decks and the prominent colonists. These are the people in the town that you're trying to influence to come to your side, or you're trying to cast aspersions against them and hopefully arrest them at some point. The last thing we want to do is set up is there are a bunch of grievances card. Again, you're going to shuffle these up, and each person is going to grab a grievance, and these are basically going to be end of game scoring. The grievances will show you the people that you want to arrest and the people that you want to protect. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be laying out 4 cards in both lines of the colonists and the prominent colonists. So we've got 2 lines here, and each one of these colonist cards has a bunch of information on them. So if we have a look at this person here, you'll see that this number in the top left-hand corner, which is their influence number. This is how much influence you need to spend to either arrest them or to get them into your circle. Below that, now this card doesn't have it, but it would show you a influence generation marker if they generated influence. And at the bottom here will show you the number of buildings this person's worth. At the end of the game, anybody who's arrested on your board, you're going to be counting up the number of buildings they have, and that's going to give you extra victory points. They also show a T or a V here, and that will show you whether they are part of the townsfolk or the village folk. And when we talk about getting people into your circle, you can only get people into your circle that match the faction you are in. Lastly, across the bottom here is an action they can take, and there's a little symbol in the top right hand corner of that tells you what type of action it is. So there's a little hammer here that tells you that you must take that action on the main board. There's also instant actions, ongoing actions, or special actions that are taken only at certain points in the game. So now the game board's all set up. One person is designated the first player, and they will start by placing their figure on the board. So I'm just going to kind of do this, doing this without much thought. Let's say, and he's going to go there. It comes back to blue, he's going to go there. Green's going to go there, and yellow is going to go, let's say, here as well. And the way this works is you start at spot number 1, and then you now do the actions as they appear on the board. So the very first thing that's going to happen is yellow is going to go here. And what that means is they get to have, basically they get 1 influence, and they get to place an accusation token. Now accusation tokens make arresting easier, and it's the only way to arrest someone. So if I place, let's take this one here, this Reverend here, normally they cost 6 to arrest. If I put an accusation token on them, now you can actually arrest the person because they must have an accusation token on to arrest, and now it costs 1 less to arrest them. So right now he costs 5 to arrest. Blue also does the same thing, so they get an influence, and they also get to place an accusation token. Now, if I look at their faction card, they want to arrest Putnams. So they're going to maybe look up at this top row and say, oh, here's Ann Putnam. I'm going to put an accusation token on her. So hopefully at a later time, I can arrest them. Next, green is going to go, and green said they're going to generate influence and they're going to activate their people in their circle that have that hammer symbol on their card. So to activate, well, first of all, let's generate influence. So you're going to be looking at your faction card, and your faction card always generates 1 influence. They're going to be looking at the people in your circle to see whether they generate influence as well. Now this person here doesn't have the little generate influence token, so they do not get to generate influence. But because I took the action with a little hammer on it, anybody in my circle who has a hammer on their actions, I can now do their action, and in any order I want. So this one says I can move 1 accusation token. So maybe I don't want Putnam, let's say I don't want Reverend to be accused. I may move this to, and I don't like porters, so maybe I put this on Sarah Porter. Yellow now gets to place spectral evidence. And this is a special token that negates some of the bonuses that people have. So I'm going to place this on the blue token, blue player's person in their circle. And what this means is whenever someone is in your circle, they get to actually have an additional defense. So it makes them harder to arrest when they're in your circle because there's a group of people around them who are going to stand up for them. So every circle has a +5 defense bonus. So if I wanted to arrest this person, he's going to be his normal 4, but because he's in a circle, he gets a +5. So he'd be a total of 9. With this spectral evidence token, it actually negates that. So he's now back down to 4. He also does not generate influence, and blue cannot use his special ability. So basically it negates everything about the card, but doesn't arrest them or anything. They're still there, but all their basically special abilities are gone. Next, blue is going to generate 2 influence from that square, and they get to place a fear token. Now the first fear token you place on someone doesn't do anything. So let's say I place it on John Alden here. The second fear that you put on someone means they can no longer generate influence. If there's ever 3 fear tokens on a character, they don't generate influence, and they cannot use their special ability. And you can also remove fear by taking the same symbol. So you're either going to be taking 2 influence and placing a fear, or just removing 1 fear from down there. And finally, green is going to take the accuse action, which means they get 2 influence and they get to place 2 tokens on anybody. And they can split them up. They can put 2 on 1. It doesn't make any difference. Now they want to arrest porters, so maybe they're going to put 1 here to make her just a cost of 1, and they're going to place the other one there on John Porter. And that's basically the round is over. Now, because none of the cards on this bottom row were taken, so they weren't arrested or moved into the circle, as a timer of the game, this person is going to be discarded and these are going to be shifted down. So whenever there's a card that at the end of the round, if this is still full at the end of the round, then you're always going to drop this last one off and refill it. Otherwise, you're just going to refill it. You're going to shift everybody down and refill whatever is taken. So there's only 3 more things I want to show you about the actions. One is the protect, 1 is arresting, and 1 is circle. So this thing here allows you to be first player, so you can take the first player token for the next round, and you also get to protect somebody. And protect is almost the opposite of what the spectral evidence says. I can protect this person, which means he can no longer be arrested. You can still put accusation tokens on them, but they cannot be arrested. Now the arrest action here, you can arrest anybody from the village or someone else's faction by paying their cost in the top right left-hand corner, as long as they have at least 1 accusation token on them. So here I want to arrest porters, and I see the Sarah Porter here has 2 accusation tokens on them, and because she's got 2 accusation tokens on them, it means she is only going to cost 1 to arrest. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of those. I'm going to spend 1 of my influence to arrest this person, and I'm going to put it next to my board here. And finally, we have taking someone into your inner circle. And again, I'm going to be looking at my faction card, and it says I want to have porters in my inner circle. So I'm going to look at John Porter here. He normally costs 5, and even though he has an accusation token on him, he's still going to cost me 5 to move him into my circle. So I'm going to spend 5 influence and put it back in the bank, and he's going to come into my inner circle. He still keeps his his accusation token, but he's now in my circle. And it also means that people can still arrest him, but now he's going to be 5 plus 5 minus 1. So he's going to be a total of 9 to arrest. And if you are doing it as a second time, so if someone places it this +1 or +1 here, all that means is it's going to cost 1 extra influence to do that person. And that's basically all the actions you're going to be taking. And you're going to keep on going around until you hit one of those 2 end of game cards. They're going to be adding up the points. Now the points are all labeled for you on your faction card here. And it will show you that you have 1 VP for each person that you've arrested and 1 VP for everybody in your circle. Then you're going to get a 2 bonus VP for every, now in this case, for every proctor you arrest, a bonus 2 VP for every Putnam in your circle. Then you're going to be looking at your grievance cards. You're going to be seeing if you've arrested any of these people, you're going to get 2 victory points for that. If someone has arrested this person, you're going to lose 2 victory points. You're going to look at all the people that you've arrested. So the only person that we've arrested here is this person. The number of houses is also going to give you a victory point. And whoever has the most victory points is the winner. The one thing I should mention is when you're bringing someone into your circle, you can only bring someone into your circle if they match the faction that you are in. So this person here that I've moved into my, the Salem town is a town person. So that's acceptable. I could not move, let's say I want to bring this person in. I cannot move this person into my Salem town because they are a villager. So that's the only restriction when you're moving someone into your circle. And again, whoever has the most points is the winner. Let's get back to the table to see what I thought about Affliction, Salem 1692. So, what did I think about Affliction, Salem 1692? Well, right off the bat, this is one of my standout games from Origins of 2017. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I really, really enjoyed this game. Now, that being said, there are a few niggling things that I wish they would have done better, or that I would have liked better. For example, the lack of variety in the grievance cards. Now, the grievance cards are kind of end-of-game scoring. Everybody gets dealt one at the beginning of the game, and this is one thing you're going to be working towards. I prefer to have those kind of end-of-game scoring to help you define what you're going to be doing during the game. Unfortunately, with this game, all the grievance cards are identical. They're all, you need to arrest these 3 people, and you need to basically protect this one other person. I wish that they had some variety. For example, in the cards, you have kind of all these cards here, and they give you along the side, what they are. Like here it says that this person's a minister, or you've got there's another minister. There is farmers, there's daughters, there's slaves, there's afflicted. Stuff like that. I wish that they maybe had grievance cards that said, for every farmer that you arrest, you get 2 points. I would have enjoyed that more. And along those same lines, the starting cards are also limited. There's only 6 starting cards. I wish there was more starting cards. Now the starting cards are different enough. Those 6 cards kind of help you define how you start the game. Therefore, I wish that the grievance cards helped you figure out how you're going to end the game. There's only 6 starting cards, and once you've played it a couple times, you have seen all 6 starting cards. And more than likely, you've got to use most of them. But again, those are very minor, niggly things. And that does not diminish how much I enjoyed this game overall. Now, if you know me at all or know the type of games I like combo building and engine building in games. And this game has it to an extent. And this is kind of a pro or con with the next point, which is the length of the game. The game does move along. Every round that a person from one of the lines is not taken, you remove the rightmost card and kind of refill. So every turn you're flipping over at least 1 new card to refill the row. Therefore, when those when one of those end of game scoring people come up, or end of game cards come up, and the game is over, the game is always ticking. The game never stalls. You're always knowing that, is this the round that's going to end? But because of that, it doesn't give you really enough time to build like a full-blown engine or getting your combos to work repeatedly. Now, quite often I had a small engine I was able to kick off maybe once or twice during the game, and that feels good. I enjoy when my engines kick off, but I can never really build like a multi-card combo or engine that was going to be reliably going to be able to, to use it several times. So I like the length. I think it's a good length for the game, but on the other hand, that length means that my long combos and engines don't get a chance to kick off, or I'm not going to be able to build them. So it's kind of a 50-50 on that one, which way you like it. So I also really enjoyed the theme. I like that although this is about Salem, it's not about witches. It's about the paranoia and the accusations that are being thrown around. I mean, the theme really works well. You can't arrest someone out of the town or the village unless there is some reason to do it. And then you have to put accusation tokens on them. And the more accusation tokens you put on someone, the easier it is to arrest them. Almost kind of like a mob mentality. That if everybody starts pointing the finger at one person, it's much easier to get that person out and throw them in jail than it would be just to come up to a center of the community and arrest them. When there's enough doubt on them or enough accusations, then it becomes easier to arrest them. I also enjoy that having them in your inner circle, that kind of group of people is kind of standing up for that person, giving them that defense bonus. But they can still be arrested if you can get enough accusation tokens or use one of those special tokens on them. So everything I found was very thematic. Now, one of the things that is unfortunate for this game, if you go to the DPH website, the publisher of the game, they'll give you a greater breakdown of basically who all these characters are. And you'll see from there that the characters kind of are very tightly closed, and what they do are tightly close to who they actually were in real life. Now that does not come in the box that you get. You have to kind of investigate to figure out who all these people are, and you can basically learn up about them and realize that the actions that they do are fairly closely tied to what they actually did in real life, which I really enjoyed. I just wish it kind of came with the box. So as you can see, I really did enjoy this game. Now this game is going to be a little harder to get because it's from a small publisher. You can order directly from their website, and I'm sure many local friendly game stores will also store this. And this is one I would highly suggest you go and search out. It is a very enjoyable game. And with that, as always, thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching another review from the Four Corners of the Board. Please like and subscribe to these videos. You can also follow us on social media, email us directly, or check out our website at fourcornersoftheboard.com.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at coolstuffinc.com.